Hello, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey, and I'm here to look at the daily transit and the weekly transit. So, here is the transit of the day. The sun entered in the 64th gate on Sunday before completion, the gate of confusion. And let's look at it. It's in the head center, which is a pressure center. Just to change my pointer. But it's not an awareness center. The ajna is an awareness center, but not the head center. The head center is pressure. This is the beginning of the abstract note. And just a second. And it's together with the 47th gate, they form the channel of abstraction, a design of mental activity and clarity. But the 64th gate is the gate of confusion. And the term confusion is not to be taken as something negative. It simply means that the pressure is a busy mind with a great deal of data, most of which superfluous, that requires filtering before the pressure can be relieved. It's about being very busy in the mind. It is an abstract process. And while the logic process tests the pattern in the present, this is the logic, the pattern in the present. Or, yeah, here. So it takes a pattern in the present to project into the future to for the sake of having a better or secure future. And the abstract process, which is here in the 47th gate, so it's on the other side, and here like that. It is looking at the past to find the lessons and basically it's something that it's about the abstract process as being experienced in the present in order to reflect upon it when it is in the past. So it is here the pressure of this gate to flood the mind with images rooted in past experience, in things which happened. And because while you're in the experience, you cannot really make sense of what's happening, since we have the format channel of this circuit is the channel of maturation. So it's about being in the experience. The cycles have beginning, middle, and end. And only at the end of the process, when the experience is over, it's in the past already, you might eventually make sense of what it was about and take the lesson of that experience. So when activated, this gate is also a powerful dreaming gate, especially in the dream rave. And since it's the mental pressure for the abstract circuit, the standing point is by its very nature a mixed blessing. And if we look at the different lines, so above the lines, it says transition like birth requires a determined strength for passage through. In order for the confusion to become clarity, it takes time, and it requires a determined strength to for the passage through. So, and it also says something about the entire process because it's the last hexagram in the wheel. It's called before completion. So while you're still in confusion, not making um, an assumption, and before making a conclusion, before completion, everything's fine. After you make a conclusion, basically you limit yourself and everything is not fine because there is judgment. Let's look at the specific lines. The first line here is conditions. In penetrating to the center, the understanding that instills the necessary harmony to survive disorder, almost amongst the confusion, the difficulty in finding the point, and the detriment, the powerful temptation when having transition insight to hasty action, an urge to act when you think you have made sense of the confusion. Of course, it's a pressure center, so this thinking pressures to go out to the throat, express itself, and act, usually hastily. The second line, qualification, an inner development which recognizes what qualities are essential for transcendence and the awareness that without them action will fail. Inner development that can end the confusion over what makes sense. And the detriment, constantly in action, it wastes the very qualities and resources that it will need, getting lost in the confusion and burdening the psyche. So qualification is about transcendence and the awareness, because without them action will fail, and making sense out of things, or at the end inner development that can end that confusion. Then we get to the third line in which we are at this moment right now. Overextension, the wisdom to recognize when one has not the necessary resources to complete transition. Such timely awareness may give it a chance to seek assistance. The wisdom to accept confusion as a temporary state that will be resolved in time or through others. It is so important for the open head center to know when to just leave it. When you catch yourself thinking too much, just remind yourself that confusion is a temporary state and this shall pass and it will all make sense at some point. But we need to let go and to, guys, basically only 30% of the people have a defined head center, which means that only 30% of the people are here to actually think and inspire others with their thoughts. And the rest, the other 70% of the people, they're not here to try to make sense out of everything and out of every confusion and to answer everybody else's question and to be caught up in something which is not inspiring and caught in certain concepts and in certain mm, thoughts which are not their thoughts. So 70% of the people are running around being inspired by somebody else's thoughts, while people should be able to relax that not every question needs to be answered, and don't turn this confusion against you. Oppression, the 47th is the harmonic on the other side, oppression. So this is not an energy to point against yourself. So the detriment here is the risk of superficially confident personality that when transition collapses, there is no one to turn to. Overconfidence that the fates will be kind on demand. Then tomorrow we will get to the fourth line, conviction. Symbolized by its phases, the moon is assured of transition, convinced by its very process that it will triumph. The assuredness that confusion is a process that results in realization. The opportunist in the fourth line. It waits for the opportunity, symbolized by the phases of the moon, and waiting for the phase where there will be an opportunity to express or to let go of that confusion, of that pressure of confusion, and where force and energy alone cannot overcome doubt, where the confusion is so energized, assuredness brings no relief. So to be in conviction about those confusions is to be very fixed about it and trying to make sense of the whole thing. But as I just mentioned, 30% of the people are only here to make sense of that confusion and to really look for answers to their questions. And actually, often it's not about the answer, it's about the right question, to ask the right question. And the opportunist, if they wait for the opportunity to come to present itself, they will have the right question inside. Then we will go to the fifth line, promise. The values promised in any new order are demonstrated through harmonic interaction with others. The strengths, the justification for the struggle, confusion over which values and relationships can bring harmony, and detriment, a tendency in trying to justify the struggle by focusing extensively on the failure of the old order that cannot demonstrate the quality of the new, focusing on the past confusions about values and relationships. Yeah, this is me. This is me. It's really, this gate just throws you images all the time. And it's at one point, it gives you, like, imagine something happened, and like a detective, a police detective, after being on the scene, uh, remembering all the details in order to catch the criminal. The 64th gate is something like a detective. It just takes everything in, and then it projects different images from different points of view at different timings. So it shows you from this point of view and from this perspective, then from that perspective, and then you see another detail and another detail, and it's practically like a kaleidoscope of images coming and going and coming and going, and suddenly the picture makes sense. Suddenly there is the bigger picture, the higher point of view, or the from a bigger perspective. And on the other hand, if you turn that towards yourself, so it can be a great pleasure for me to live over and over and over a certain moment and a certain happening until I completely exhausted the feeling and um, the being the experience somehow, and then it's over, and then it doesn't come back anymore, those images, unless something triggers it. But so it's something like living over and over and over and over what happened, and then suddenly it makes sense. Suddenly it just makes sense, all of it. And this can be in certain moments, all of it makes sense, and then a week later or a few days later or something, some other detail can pop up in your imagination, in your mind, and then it makes even a bigger sense. And it's about, noticing the patterns here. So it is a very imaginative gate, able to make up stories, to make sense out of this confusion, and to really see the pattern and connect all the dots, make observations, especially when invited and asked. It's a projector gate. Very interesting way of working. So, and let's look at the sixth line, the last one, victory. The mental assuredness that knew that victory was inevitable, thus making triumph sweet but not reason for excess. The mental gift of enjoying the confusion and its diversity of data. Like the story of the Trojan horse, it can be dangerous to get carried away in celebration. Least one loses vigilance and perspective. With all the diversity of data, it is easy to lose perspective. And being so dreamy in the sixth line above everything, it can go either as a gift of enjoying the confusion and its diversity, or easy to lose perspective in all of these data. So, especially if you're with an open head and if you have the 47th gate, but look at it. Look, all of those pressure gates are now activated. So we are all under pressure to think. We're all under pressure to be inspired about things and to um, overthink those things which we think of inspiring, and not really selecting through things which are worth thinking about. But bang 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 bang, the mind can be super confused and doubtful and under pressure to look for the inner truth. Basically, we have all those three gates, and it's there for a while. Pluto is there for a while in the 61st gate, now in line 6. And at the same time, we have the 64th and the 63rd gate in. So be aware that you're under pressure to think too much and to take decisions based on that. This energy grounds itself in the 63rd gate, which is after completion, or the gate of doubts. So it is grounded in logic, and it's the fuel of doubt, of suspicion, of distrust. It is very funny when I speak with people, especially with the channel 63, 4, and if we have analysis, those are like the most difficult people to have analysis with because they question everything and they're so suspicious. But hey, this is so nice. Because this is their nature. It's the logical process is about questioning things and testing things to see which works so that you can eventually entrust your future in it. So it can be quite funny. You can because you see the body relax and really take the information and be so happy about it, and the mind is like processing everything and it hears, and it's like, well, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. If they want to take my authority, I don't give my authority. So it's quite funny to watch. But it's about the doubt not only projected out into the world, but also turned on itself. So again we have the same thing as with the 64th gate. Don't turn this against you. It's not about you. It's about the inspiration, and it's about the entire logical system. The understanding circuit is here. It is the universal in life forms, and it's understanding in an essential process in life. And every process begins with doubts and confusion before it gets clarity. Basically, the pressure of uncertainty demands proofs, facts, substantiation. There is no need to feel uncomfortable because one has doubts. They're the beginning of a process of understanding, not the end of it. The foundation of this circuit is patterns. The doubt will only arise when there is something unclear in the pattern. And this is the gate of questioning, and it is not aware. It's not the center of awareness. The logic circuit is about establishing with certainty the validity of a pattern so that it can form the basis of projecting into the future. The pressure of doubt fuels anxiety and the fear for the collective future. The fuel is to question, and the pressure is a need for an answer. In the fourth gate, the gate of the answer, the harmonic gate, youthful folly, with which they form the channel of logic, a design of mental ease mixed with doubt. So those two gates and channels, they're about being very busy in the mental process, busy with doubting and being confused until clarity and easiness, mental ease come around. The best with those channels, two channels, and with this pressure right now in the air is when you catch yourself thinking too much about something, especially if it's not something important right now for your life, like being just your interest can be caught by so many things, and you can be just wasting your energy looking at those questions and at those things and researching this and that and whatever. And mm, it's just something to be aware that not all questions to be answered are yours. And it's actually being able to notice and to see who's inspirational and who is clear and who is where is the mental ease. So those are days in which consciousness and trying to figure out some questions, trying to figure out logic, having doubts, and getting to consciousness and eventually dominion. Um, Getting over the confusion and making sense of it all. Or not, or not. The duality of things. We're still in the notes, the first and the second gate. um, about in third line patience, it's about direction. The teacher that never stops being a student. For the revolutionary, patience is a vice, higher knowing that cannot wait and demands expression. So, demanding expression in the next few days, we can definitely see that in the direction. And the first gate, the creative, the gate of self-expression. Third line, the energy to sustain creative work. Mars exalted as the symbol of the profound need for self-expression, the deep need for self-expression. Material forces can disrupt creativity and lead to over-ambition. Materialism disrupts creativity. It's about staying in your own process, being patient, and wait. This is a projector, gate, and channel, and this is a generator channel. It's about waiting to respond to the right direction and waiting to be recognized and invited to express it. Open your ears, be receptive, open your eyes because direction is in the air. And the second and the first gate, being in the notes, connect us to the bigger picture of things, and it might show us the direction for the next years to come, for the big change in 2027, the coming of the cross of the sleeping phoenix, and leaving the cross of planning, which ruled our world as a background frequency for the past 400 years. So that's a big change. And here we can get some guidance eventually, or not, about what is the direction which is coming. So if we look at the moon, it is in gate 38, opposition, the gate of the fighter, third line, alliance, lots of third lines actually right now. The ability to sustain through integration with similar forces, thus ensuring the vitality to persevere. The energy to integrate with others in times of struggle. Selfish alliance, which saps the energy of one's partners in order to ensure personal vitality. The energy to selfishly use others in times of struggle. That's the focus of the mind and the driving force at this moment. Opposition, right here, just across the risk taker. So beware of wanting to take risks or being opposition and to either selfishly use others or integrate with them in times of struggle. Then Mercury, our communication thinking is in 18th gate, 5th line, therapy. This is the gate of correction, work on what has been spoiled. And right now it's about the strength to recognize a problem and to accept that it is beyond one's power to solve it alone. We're not alone. We are social beings. The wisdom to both seek and provide guidance. The potential for correction and judgment through relationships. The mental patient. Chronic instability and potential madness, where relationships cannot assist in correction, the potential of mental instability. Following your strategy and authority, waiting to be recognized before you give your correction will make sure it's correct for you. And even in times of mental instability, things will go exactly as they have to be. Then we have dispersion, Venus, our moral values and relating in the gate of sexuality. First line, the preemptive strike, the authority and vitality that in understanding purpose and direction can recognize and eliminate barriers before they become impregnable. The power of fertility to impregnate. In this position, the ability and intelligence to recognize, but a deep indecisiveness about how and when to act. The potential of fertility limited by uncertainty. Uncertainty, the first line is the line of uncertainty, insecurity. And here we have the power of fertility to impregnate, or its potential limited by uncertainty. Those are the moral values that you will hear people talk about right now. Um, Trying to put the barriers before they have been established, and really preemptive strike. It's a military term. So then we have the 16th gate, enthusiasm, the gate of skills. In the fourth line, the leader, genuine and sincere support and recognition of others. The demagogue, the refusal to support or recognize the talents of others. Here is the energy dynamics, the most immature energy, super strong, and it can be destructive when impatient, or it can be a great asset in this talent channel, basically. But at this moment, not able to recognize the talents of others. Then, and this is the most immature energy. So, enthusiasm about genuine and sincere support of recognizing others, and being a demagogue at this moment, and the refusal to actually support or recognize. Then the 17th gate, the gate of opinions, third line, understanding, another third line, the awareness that the best road is not necessarily the most interesting. And here we have our law and protection, which puts in the air this frequency, which if it's not kept, then Saturn in gate 49 will be limiting us. So the awareness that the best road is not necessarily the most interesting. The following of the best road provides the experience necessary to meet the challenge of the road's end, the understanding that the best opinions are grounded in detail. The taking of shortcuts, one may get to the end quicker, but essential experience will be missing. The possibility of skipping details and limiting the value of the opinion. So there will be quite some opinions in the air. Restricted in the last resort, the gate of principles, the determination to exhaust every possible peaceful avenue for change, and then when satisfied that no other course is possible, to plan in detail before revolution is attempted. And on the other hand, the overwhelming revolutionary urge that is impatient with accommodation and negotiation, and wants to to make the tendency here is the coup d'etat, that has little general support and impatience with accommodation, or the potential to explore every possibility for rejecting. It's a gate of rejection. And again, we have the second line in the second gate, excuse me, line 6, Uranus, the unusualness, chaos, and innovation, the receptive, the gate of direction of the self, 6 line fixation, unable to or unwilling to see the whole picture. With Mercury exalted, less negative, through the intellect becomes absorbed in constant rationalization, higher knowing that is extremely narrow in its receptivity. The need for security may distort awareness to its ultimate perversion. Destructiveness, the higher self absorbed with the mundane and the need for security. That will be the unusualness. And as you see, a lot of thinking going on. New directions, a lot of thinking, new direction, struggle, different roles, and at the same time, dispersion and possibility for preemptive strike. Then we have the talents here. It's a reflector chart. So it can be quite disappointing and at the same time surprising, or not. So here in the 2-6, the need for security may distort the awareness to its ultimate perversion in direction. Then we have Neptune, which is for a long time in the 36th gate, the darkening of the light, the gate of crisis in the second line support, assistance to others in times of decline, the application of imagination to schemes which benefit others, feeling that can benefit others in times of crisis. And the exaltation in the 61st, the inner truth, Pluto, truth transformation and psychology. In the gate of mystery, sixth line, appeal, the profound attunement to the collectivity that can lure the public to a truth, inspiration that can bring clarity to the collective. Oh, wow. It's really an interesting transit. And we can see all of this played out in the news and in the talks around the people. And although the I Ching and those lines, they're sometimes a little bit mystical, hard to understand, but it's not about understanding, it's about resonating, it's about feeling. And those keywords here, they make the rest for you to make sense out of the whole picture. So, fellow travelers on planet Earth, this is the daily transit of the day, and it is about noticing those confusions, those doubts, those looking for the inner truth, putting you under pressure to think, under pressure to answer everybody else's questions, questions which are not yours. The good question might be the difference to everything. The good question is something projectors are here to deliver. The good question which can lead the energy in the right direction, which can notice the pattern and the data images to make sense out of the whole picture. And the same time will be a lot of opinions, wanting to share the talents, the direction. So still we have some individuality. And the difference is that we just entered the 61st gate, actually. Pluto was in the 60th gate until actually until yesterday, right? Monday, yeah. So UP, the 61st gate in retrograde is, yeah, I didn't notice that. I said it was Pluto for a long time there, but actually it was for a long time in the 60th gate. And now it's going to be for a few months in the 61st gate until November. I think it was November. Yes. November 10th, it will get again into the 60th gate. So we have a window here of less restrictions because the gate of limitation is now gone, being in the inner truth, the gate of mystery. Let's look at the 61st gate. So the 61st gate is part of the knowing circuit together with the 24th gate makes the channel of awareness, 24th gate of returning. So it's here we talk about, as Ra says, the old joke about history being his story and mystery being my story. Inner truth is the pressure to resolve the individual mystery. The head center is not an awareness center, it is a pressure. The intensity of the pressure can fuel unique inspiration or can lead to delusion and madness. Knowing which questions are here to be answered and which questions don't have an answer and which questions are not worth answering. The knowing circuit is outside of the collective. It's about pulse. I know, I know, I know, I don't know. Or the opposite. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Ooh, now I know. The frequency of mental awareness is over all time, and the pressure of the unknown and knowable haunts the thinker's mind. It is the pressure to know the absolute. The absolute. The knowing circuit is extremely complex. There are three different fuels bringing pressure to the individual process. And it helps to illustrate clearly how different aspects of our nature have a symmetry with others. The 38th opposition and the 39th obstruction, the provocateur, like inner truth, are aspects operating out of different frequencies but doing the same work. Unique inspiration is both a struggle and a provocation. The pressure to fight is spontaneous. The pressure to provoke comes in a wave, in the emotional wave, or the spontaneous, the spleen. But the pressure to know stays the whole life. The potential of struggle is staying alive in the now. The potential of provocation is the discovery of the spirit. The potential of inner truth is silence. Follow your strategy and authority to find the best questions and eventual silence in those very, very busy, talkative, and opinionated rejection crisis, looking for inner truth. Is it your inner truth? Or is it somebody else's inner truth you're looking for? Are those your questions? Are those the right questions? Where you're not fixating yourself, you're not limiting yourself with somebody else's opinions and inspirations and questions and doubts and confusions. It's about knowing who is not confusing, who is clear, who is giving you clear understanding, clear questions, clear cut questions after proper recognition and true invitation. Strategy and authority. That's the answer. That's the umbrella to the daily transit, so that we're not disappointed, but in awe and surprise by life. I wish you interesting, conscious days ahead. Love yourselves and enjoy the ride. Bye for now, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey. Speak to you soon.